Gary, moving to thing number two, we're talking about the ECB, European Central Bank. We've seen stagnant economic growth, political upheaval in Europe. Thing number two, Gary, the ECB's reluctant rate cut.
Yeah, and Rob, for all the times that here at DKI, we've talked about how rough the economy is here and how badly it's been mismanaged. All I can say is it could be worse. We could be Europe. Uh, they basically have all of our problems with less economic growth. The ECB cut 25 basis points to 3%. It's the fourth cut this year. And Christine Lagarde, who we insist is not a vampire, she acknowledged that some of their policymakers had flirted with the idea of a 50 basis point cut. They settled on 25. Their official rationale, which I agree with, is sluggish growth and inflation expected to hit the 2% target, except here's the issue. The only reason they're going to hit 2% inflation is because their whole economy is stagnating. That continent is having horrible labor problems. They're talking about a sufficiently restrictive policy, but basically they have overprinting, debt, inflation above target, and weak economic growth. It is the worst of all possible scenarios. So basically the ECB, the European Central Bank, we've talked a lot about how the Fed is trapped. They're more trapped. Rob, you're on mute. Oh, you got
I
out of
am
it.
on mute. Wow,
All right.
first time I've ever done that. That's why I
There you
normally
go.
don't mute, actually. But
It's
I
a
was
good thing we do
clicking
this
into
live.
something. Yeah, yeah. So, with everything going on in Europe, Gary, obviously lots of issues. Is there anywhere in Europe with all the different countries that we have there where things are going well of any sort, or is it just clear across the board Europe's in trouble?
So Eastern Europe, the Eastern European economies have tended to do a bit better. And the main reason for that is those were former communist states that fled communism. They had revolutions to get rid of it. And so the people there are much more in tune with the idea of a free market. Europe has basically been a socialist economy for decades. And they're having all kinds of problems, massive overspending, a really easy, their work week is, they're at 35 hours and trying to get it lower. They take 2 months of vacation a year. They have tons and tons of national holidays. They want a lot of government services, but they don't want to work a lot. They have early retirements. It's not a place. People talk a lot about Europeans valuing quality of life instead of work, and that's great. But if you're thinking you're not going to work a lot, but the government will provide you with a lot, the only way they can do it is money printing, and that leads to inflation. They're having all kinds of political issues as well. Germany's facing early elections. France has unbelievable political instability. They're fighting it out with Canada right now for most political instability, and Europe is having issues integrating immigrants from different cultures. A lot of those people are coming. They're not working. Not all of them, but some of them are not. But there are issues getting them to integrate and become part of the countries that they've moved to. So they're going to have some challenges trying to encourage meaningful economic growth. I think the biggest issue they have, though, is really bad energy policies. And again, I've complained about energy policies here in the US and how we have nonsensical policies. But, Germany shut down their nuclear plants. They talked about going green, and the result was they started burning more coal and more wood while insisting that their goal was lower carbon emissions. This makes no sense at all. And all they've done is just ruin their economy. They've basically made it so that it is uneconomical to produce cars there. And basically, industrial activity in Germany is plummeting. And when the Germans can't produce cars because their steel costs are too high and their energy costs are too high, the whole economy is in trouble.
Tough times for our friends over there in Europe. You're watching the five things with Deep Knowledge Investing. I would love if you'd head to our website, deepknowledgeinvesting.com. Sign up for a free subscription. That'll get you access to content that will be sent out via email. Some of that content, though, will be paywalled, reserved for our premium subscribers. We'd love for you to check the subscribe now. $100 a month will get you access to every piece of content we send out, as well as current recommendations regarding Gary's portfolio buys and sells.